Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our special session on Veracity, the most powerful way to safely trade today's markets. Exciting title. Thanks so much for joining us. My name is Raul Aurora. I am the Coaching and Education Coordinator here at Trading Winds, and it's always my pleasure to host these wonderful training sessions with our head trader, Vince Vora, who's going to be joining us momentarily. Before that, I need to take care of some business to make sure that you can all hear us and see us over the course of the next hour that we'll be spending together. And I promise you it's going to be worthwhile. If you can hear me and see me, if you can put some kind of note in your chat box to let me know that, we will get started shortly. Yes, and yes, Al, nice to see you again. I think we saw each other just about 4 hours ago at the penny stock training course. David, I see you as well. Alan, Bruce, Jen, nice to see you as well. Jen, I hope you received our emails that we had sent to you. Kenneth, I do see everyone saying yes, okay, can hear you. Oh, very good. You should see a title slide on your screen that says Veracity. Let's bring in our head trader who's going to be training you for the next hour, Vince Vora. Vince, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks, Ro. How are you?
I'm great. Now, this system here, what a coincidence is that actually has Vora in the name of it.
Yes,
Is that by design or did that just happen?
yes. It kind
That's
of
the
just
way
happened.
that's the way it's called. That's the way
Yeah.
it's called.
Sometimes things just happen.
Sometimes it. All right. What is Veracity and how did it come to be?
So this is a system that I worked on for many, many years. Came together, oh boy, a little over 20 years ago, or at least the guts of it, the basics of it. And then over the years, tweaking it. The real challenge with this system was not to necessarily identify the entries, but to do so in a very safe way where you you know it would allow you to identify markets that are about to make a big move while protecting you at the same time. So you know it, whenever we think about trading, risk is really tied to reward, right? And so if you want to have some big wins, you got to usually take a lot of risk. Well, my whole mission with this was to be able to cap the downside without capping the upside, basically. And that's what took so many years to finally put together. But we've done so. It's I think our most successful system, our most consistent. We've been trading with it for years, and I'm really happy to share it with you today.
Markets yesterday, let's talk a little bit about that before we get into the heart of the session today. We had a big up day yesterday and then very little follow through today. In fact, Dow down about 79, almost 80 points, NASDAQ up 20 points going in different directions. Does
Mm-hmm.
that have any meaning to you?
I think it really says a lot about the current environment. I mean, traders, investors are very confused right now. There's all this talk about slowing economic growth, and yesterday we had a couple of economic data reports that went against that showed some progress, and so they came in stronger than expected, and that gave us a bit of a pop. Today we kind of came back down to reality. We had one or two reports that were not as strong, and that gave traders a reason to pause. I think there's a lot of issues up in the air. There's the trade deal with China, what the Fed is going to do next. So it's actually a very difficult time to be trading, and a very risky time because of the potential volatility ahead. So it doesn't surprise me that we had a day like today. It is a little frustrating for the market to kind of go flat after such a big day yesterday, but it really is expected in this type of environment.
We're speaking with Vince Vora. He's the head trader here at Trading Winds. He's been trading professionally for over 35 years, has held a number of positions in the financial industry. Over the last 10 years, his focus has been on teaching retail traders as well as money managers how to get better at their craft. Vince, a lot has changed in the markets since you started. What's the best change that you've seen in your 35 years?
Well, the technology. I mean, with the technology we have these days, it allows anyone from home to really do what could only be done on the floor before. So it really has opened up the world of trading to everyone, and it's pretty exciting. And I think with these tools, it just gets better and better every day. And today we've got a platform to share with you that has several different tools that I think can really help you improve your trading. So along with Veracity, there's some tools here, some pretty unique tools on this particular platform that complement Veracity and that will allow you to really improve your odds on every single trade. So along with the strategy, we'll go through and show you how you can use some of those tools, how you can incorporate them into your trading, whether you want to use Veracity or not. Those tools can help you no matter what strategy you trade. So looking forward to it.
And we're all looking forward to it as well. I think everyone's ready to go. If you've joined us before, you know we'd like to have a little bit of fun, add some levity to the serious topic. Vince, I'm going to read this breaking news to you from the Wall Street Journal that came in a few seconds ago.
Okay.
It says, quote, "I guess I'm stuck with you. President Trump told Fed Chairman Jerome Powell despite the central bank's pause in rising interest rates."
Yeah, see, that kind of stuff doesn't help either, right? The one thing that the markets hate most is uncertainty. So, if we were to get a change with the Fed chair and someone else comes in, then we don't know what to expect. Suddenly we go from an environment where we're not expecting any rate hikes for the next year to something where there may be, or there may be a cut, who knows. But it's the uncertainty that leads to volatility, that leads to all the back and forth, and that's why we're in the state we are. So how you deal with it is the important part, and I think Veracity will help you navigate your way through the markets.
I think that's a great segue to talk about how Veracity can help you in these uncertain markets. Vince, off you go.
Great, thank you. And thanks everyone for joining us today. Happy to share this with you. This is our presentation on Veracity. Before I get into the details, I do need to stress that trading can be risky. So please don't go out and trade with real money until you are completely comfortable with the system you are using. As Raul said, I'm Vince Vora. I'm the head trader here, and I have been doing this for quite some time, and recently have focused more on coaching. And so I'm glad to be sharing this with you today. In today's presentation, I'm going to start off with my money management rules, because you can have any strategy, and regardless, how accurate, how strong that strategy is, if you don't have the right money management plan, you're not going to do very well. So I'm going to share with you the rules that I use and have been using myself for many, many years. I guarantee you that if you follow these rules to a T, you will never take a big loss again. Okay, I know it's a big statement, but it's true. I myself took a very, very big loss when I first started trading and thought I knew what I was doing, when in reality I knew very little. But over the years, in learning the right way to trade, I put these 5 rules together, and ever since I've managed to trade without taking any big loss. So I'm going to share that with you. Then we're going to talk about what components make up the Veracity system. It really all came about as my search for the Holy Grail, and we'll go through each component one by one, and we'll talk about, and not only how it works and why it works, but how this can actually work for you. And along the way, please ask as many questions as you like. If we're in the middle of a segment, we'll hold off till the end of that and then answer your question. But Raul will keep track of the chat, so by all means, type away. I want you to really understand this before you leave today. So let's get started with money management. One of the main parts of your trading. Without this, you will never be successful. I don't care what plan you have. So, and you may scoff at the first bullet point you see here, but please don't. Please take it very seriously, because what I have learned over the years, not just from personal experience, but from coaching individuals, is that when you're not quite feeling well, not in the right mindset to trade, maybe a little distracted, you have a lot on your mind, that's when all the mistakes happen. So when you sit down to trade, make sure that you're free of distraction, that you're in a good mood, that you have a positive mindset, and that you're ready to focus on your trading. Lack of focus costs you money in this business. So you really do need to make sure you're in the right mindset. Secondly, um, one of the biggest parts of trading is not selecting entries and exits. And in fact, Veracity will do that for you. Okay, you don't have to worry about that. It will select the entries and exits for you, but it's how you manage a trade once you're in it that really matters. And uh, unless you're trading with the right amount of money, you simply won't be able to do that. If you're trading with more money than you can handle, you are going to make a mistake. You're going to get scared out of that trade. You know, your emotions will come in. That's why it is super, super important that you trade with an amount that feels completely insignificant to you. Now, for some of you, that'll be a few $100s. For others, it'll be many thousands of dollars. The actual dollar amount doesn't matter. What matters is that it feels insignificant to you. I will tell you that this is one business that, you know, once you get comfortable and you believe in the strategy you're using, you believe in yourself as a trader, to make up for lost time is very easy. And scaling your trading to get to the next level is also very easy. It's just a numbers game. So what you have to do is hone your skills first and get into that routine that you can be very disciplined about and follow over and over and over again. What you need to do as a trader is rinse and repeat. That's it. Especially when you're training with technical analysis. You just need to find one pattern and then execute on it. And with Veracity, I think it'll be a lot easier for you. And with the other tools on this platform I'm about to share, it will certainly be easier for you, but you need to make sure you follow the rules to a T. Now, when it comes to risk, I absolutely hate risk. I am a very, very conservative trader. Any of you who have been at my previous presentations or followed me for a while will know that I absolutely despise risk. So one of the other ways to minimize risk in the marketplace is to make sure that I never put any more than 5% of my account balance in any one trade. And I view that as a starting point. So for those of you just starting out, even if you have a smaller account size, no more than 5%, but your goal should be to reduce that. In other words, as you grow your account, you want to drop that to 4.5, to 4, to 3, to 2. If you can get to the point where you're putting no more than 1% of your account balance in any one trade and you still have a sizable trade on, you're doing very, very well. And that's what your goal should be. Also in the market, there's not a whole lot we can actually control. And every once in a while, there is an unexpected event, those black swan events. The best example I can give you is a 9/11, right? None of us would have expected that. None of us could have anticipated it or did anything to protect ourselves from it. The only thing you can do is to make sure that you keep a portion of your account in reserve. We like to keep at least 50% of our account in cash at all times, just in case. If something like that were to happen again, not only would the losses you sustain be manageable and be on the smaller side, but you'd still have money in your account to put back into the markets and make back those losses, okay? And last but not least, what you want to do when you're selecting trades is spread them out. You know, on a day like yesterday, that was pretty strong. We saw the Dow up over 300 points, the Nasdaq up over 30, etc. There's going to be a lot of trade setups in that one direction, right? Now, what if you went in and put on 6, 7, 8 trades yesterday, and today we saw the market just settle back, right? You'd be in a hole right off the bat, and that's what you don't want to do. So you always want to select one or maximum two of the highest probability trade setups for whatever time frame you're trading. No more than that. Spread them out to avoid such a situation. So once again, if you follow these 5 rules, okay, you will never sustain a big loss again if you follow these rules. And that will take you a long way with your trading, because so many people, have a series of winners and then they get a little overconfident. They start putting more money into their trades, and then there's that one loss that just wipes out their account. And this is a long-term game, not a short-term game. Now, a couple other golden rules that we live by here, and this is more for those of you who are just starting out. You'll never go broke taking profits, meaning it's going to take you some time to get confident in yourself and in the system and learn how to stay in a trade for the full life of that trade. Okay, most people end up cashing out earlier than not, and it's okay to do that at the beginning when you have profits. So I encourage you at the beginning, when you have a profit, take it. The reason being, this will do two things for you. Not only will it help you grow your account and make trading easier for you along the way, but it will help you gain some confidence, not only in the system you're using, but in yourself as a trader, which will carry you a long way as well. So this is very, very important when you're first starting out. And as you gain experience, you will learn how to remain in a trade a little longer each time, okay? And lastly, you need to remember that this is not about you. Check your ego at the door. You don't control the market, not today, not tomorrow, not ever, okay? This is not about whether you're right or wrong. You'll never outguess the market. What it is all about is how much money you make when you're right versus how much money you lose when you're wrong. In other words, it's all about execution. You need to follow that money management plan. You need to follow your trading plan, and you need to control those losses, okay? And allow those winners to run. And with Veracity, it will do most of the work for you. And I'll show you that in just a second, okay? So let's talk about Veracity and the components that make up the system. So there are a number of indicators and oscillators that, when combined, will select some very conservative entries for you, and will get you out very quickly when things don't go your way. Now, over the years, I've back tested this and forward tested it, meaning with real money, over many, many years throughout all different types of markets, different time frames, equities, Forex, futures, you name it, markets here in North America, markets overseas. It's based solely on technical analysis and will work just as well on any time frame, any market. Okay, I know how well it works because I've spent the better part of my life on it, but I hope today to prove to you in the time that we have together how well this can work for you as well. So what is it designed to do? It's designed to catch the big moves. Here at Trading Wins, we have a number of strategies, like our winning momentum strategy, our favorite trade strategy. Those are all designed to get you in a trade in those safe areas, right? Put the odds in your favor and get you in to ride the trend, the current trend that's going on. This system is designed to catch the big moves, but the big benefit here is that we're able to do that while still keeping losses small, okay? And letting the upside continue to be unlimited. In other words, we finally found a combination that will allow us to catch those big runs without taking more risk, okay? So what it actually does is maximize the safety component in every trade. It actually puts the odds in your favor when it comes to the markets, and I'll show you exactly how. So what is it going to do for you? Well, not only will it find some really strong short-term and some longer-term trading opportunities, but if you manage any sort of longer-term account, a retirement account, an IRA, that sort of thing, if you're more of an investor, this will capture some massive, massive trades for you, okay? And remember, while still keeping your risk to an absolute minimum. I'll show you several examples as we go through this. And Lastly, the other thing it'll do is it'll predict major market moves as well. You know, how many times have you heard on CNBC or any other financial outlet that, you know, so and so analyst has called 7 out of the 8, you know, bull markets or that sort of thing? Well, you don't no longer have to rely on those people. You can use Veracity to tell you when there's a shift from a down market to an up or vice versa. Okay, so let's get to the platform here and show you what Veracity is all about. Now, the charting platform that I'm using here today is the Tactical Trader platform, tacticaltrader.com. And this is a charting platform that has all the usual tools that you'll see on most platforms here. And in addition, has several others that are very unique. So at first, I will focus on the Veracity strategy, and then I'll share with you a few unique tools that are only available on this platform. So here's a chart of the SPYs. Now, obviously, it's been clearly trending for a while, but let me throw on the Veracity indicator here and show you what we're looking at here and how we want to use it. So on here, you're going to see a number of little circles here, the red ones, the green ones, and within each one, there's a pattern. Let me zoom in so maybe you can see them clearly. Like this one here, for example, and you'll notice that when I hover over them, there's a little box that appears that'll tell you exactly what to do for that. But you'll notice that there's this little circle with an arrow on an angle. That's what would define our setup candle. So that is not telling you to get in yet, to buy yet. It's telling you heads up. It looks like there's a trade setting up, and we may be initiating a buy yet soon. Okay. Now, if you know all the criteria comes together and a long trade is actually triggered, you'll then see this circle with an arrow pointing upward, and it'll say long enter. That's where you want to get in long. Okay. Now, if the trade doesn't go well, you'll notice how it'll quickly exit you out of that position, get you out very, very quickly. Again, maximizing, or I should say minimizing your risk to a maximum. In other words, maximizing the safety component is what I was trying to say there. Okay. As soon as things go wrong, it gets you out. Then if it realizes that, yes, we were right in the first place, here's another setup, here's your long trigger. This time, there goes the trade, and we exit way up here. Okay. So you'll see a setup little indicator here, a long enter telling you to go long, and your little exit flag here. And if it's green, it has to do with a long trade. And if it's red, it has to do with a short trade, but it's the same thing. So short setup, short entry, and exit. Okay. But regardless, what I want you to focus on as we go through this presentation, you're going to see a number of these symbols on your chart. I want you to keep in mind one thing. We are not planning to trade every single one. That is not the goal here. In order for us to not miss trades from a programming standpoint, we had to leave certain things in so that we wouldn't miss any of those big setups. So you're going to see a lot more symbols on your chart than we're actually going to trade. But as we go through it, I will explain to you how we trade, why we would trade some and not others. Okay. But the other thing to focus on is how quickly it will get you out if it doesn't go your way. And the other thing is that you will see sometimes a setup indicator, right? And followed by nothing, meaning you'll see that setup, but the trade will never actually come together. Okay. So it was giving you a heads up, but the criteria we were looking for didn't actually come together, and the trade never did trigger. Okay, so you'll see that. But as I was saying during the slides, when there's a major shift in the markets, you'll know by looking at the monthly charts. Okay, so if you look at an index like the SPY, like the Dow, the NASDAQ, right, the Russell 2000, for example, and you put on a monthly chart and you throw on Veracity, it'll tell you when it's about to make a major shift, okay? And obviously being a monthly chart, if it triggers long, you should expect to be in that trade for several months. Now, if you're planning to hold this in a retirement account, for example, you don't have to be in it for several years. You can certainly scale out along the way. I would encourage you to do that. But if this is an individual stock, for example, that you're planning to hold for the life of that trade, not only is the appreciation in the underlying stock, and not only is that potential great, but remember, you can, if you're trading a dividend paying stock, collect that dividend along the way. If you know how to trade options, you can be selling calls along the way to bring in more income. So there's a lot more you can do this than just a simple buy and sell. Okay. And if you're an options trader, not only can you leverage these trades much more than just owning the straight stock, but you can also protect yourself even more than Veracity does already. So you can minimize your risk even further and leverage your upside even further. So it's the best of all worlds, okay? So what Voracity is intended to do is not obviously catch the big moves, but the only way it gets you in a trade is if it identifies a current trend with momentum behind it. So one of the things that we always want to look at and keep on our chart is a 20-period moving average, okay? A simple moving average. So let me just throw that on here and put it to 20 and show you why, or explain why we do this. Let me thicken this up a little. There we go, okay? So it's a simple 20-period moving average based on the close. Now, this is a great way to identify how strong the momentum behind the move is. And we do so by the slope on that moving average. So if the moving average is fairly flat, there really isn't much momentum at that time. But if it's sloping in the direction of your trade, it means there is. And the higher the degree of slope, the better. One of the reasons why we use the 20-period moving average is because, when you're seeing a pullback, any sort of mini retracement throughout that trend, it's easy to second guess yourself, right? In other words, if you had gotten in here and then we see the turn around and we see this large red bar, we could be thinking, hey, this thing is about to turn and go south on us, right? And that may be the case, but if it goes too far, number one, Veracity will flash an exit signal and get you out. But number two, if you see the 20-period moving average maintain its slope, okay, then really all it's confirming to you is that this is just a mini retracement before a continuation of that move. So it really helps you remain calm and stay in the trade a little longer. So it's very, very helpful, okay? And so I'm going to show you several stocks, several, whatever symbols. If there's a certain symbol you want to see, by all means, type it in. If we have time, we can review it. But many different time frames, be it monthly, weekly, daily, the shorter term time frames. But what you'll notice, I want you to focus on one thing. I want you to focus on the symbols that appear when that moving average is sloping in the direction of the trade. In other words, I consider a significant slope something roughly about 45-degree angle. Okay, just eyeball. It doesn't have to be exact. It could be less as well. But for example, in an area like this, if we get a long setup and a long trigger, it's not a trade we want to take, okay? Remember, we couldn't eliminate all the criteria because if we did, it would allow us to miss some of these bigger trades. We had to leave it in, but we get around it by putting that 20-period moving average on. So when you see a moving average that's either sloping against the direction of the trade or is flat, you do not want to take those trades, okay? There are times and reasons why we may take a trade coming out of that area, but usually the main reason is we're breaking a high. In other words, we've been bouncing around in a channel and now we're breaking out of that channel. That would be a reason to consider that trade. But more often than not, when you see a flat moving average, you do not want to take that. So here, for example, you would not take any trade in here. You definitely would want to take this trade, okay? And even here, you would not want to take this trade because of the flat moving average. Now, even though it worked out, it doesn't matter that we missed that. You're going to have too many setups. Your job every day with Veracity is going to be comparing one setup to another and selecting that one or two highest probability trade. And we'll talk about how you differentiate one from the other. But your starting point is the slope in the moving average. Okay, so if you have a trade like this one compared to this one, it's a no-brainer. You take the one with the slope in your favor. But as we go through this, I want you to look. The ones with slope almost always work out. Okay, it's not 100%, not saying that, nothing is, but it's highly, highly accurate. Okay, let's look at a few more examples here, and we'll go through the different time frames as well. Here's MKC, and again, you see a number of signals here, right? We can ignore most of these, okay? But the ones with slope end up being some pretty nice trades. And the other thing is, remember, what is it meant to do? It's meant to capture the big moves. Rarely will you see it miss catching a big move like that. And something like this really was a no-brainer. Think of it this way. Where we're trending higher, right? We're consistently putting in higher highs and higher lows here. Okay. And the moving average was still sloping higher here. But what happened here on this bar, right? We broke above this recent high. In other words, we moved off to a fresh new all-time high. No resistance up ahead. And that's where you get that bigger move. Okay. So here now, you know, it's calling another trade, but look at the moving average, completely flat, right? We haven't breached that high yet, so we do not want to take that trade. Why take that risk when we don't have to? We want to trade with the odds in our favor, with slope in our favor. That's what we want. Okay, and whether we look at the weekly, the monthly, look at these nice trades, all the big moves, nice capture. Again, this one here, break above the channel high, right? It consolidated for a while, breaking above the high, off it goes. But if you miss it, if you don't want to take it just based on the moving average, that's okay. Wait for the next one. Wait for that next one. Okay. Let's lower the time frame. Let's go to the daily time frame. Here once again. So the reason this one was called break above the highs. Okay. Again, if you don't want to take it, you want the safer play. Look at the ones with slope. You know, real nice moves, nice and easy. Okay. If it gets you in and out and then back in, that's okay. I'd rather have that and pay a little extra commission than risk having this completely go against me, right? So that's the reason why we did this. These days, commissions are negligible. They're so incredibly cheap, right? So someone is asking, is it easy to find tradable patterns? Absolutely it is. This comes with a scanner, which I will show you in just a minute or so. Okay, I want to show you a few more examples. So, and we also have a pro training class that comes with this indicator. Okay, where we will teach you exactly what to look for. Not only how to trade this, but how to trade it with options, how to look for certain technical patterns that will confirm which signals you do want to take and which ones you don't. Okay, all of that we will teach you along with this indicator. When it comes to gaps, we don't want to take gaps off the entry, but if we're in a position like this, if we were short a position like this, in this case we weren't. We got in here. Well, we wouldn't have gotten in here, but if we did, it would have went against us. Would have exited here, small loss, and then on this gap, it flashed a setup. Notice how there was no entry to follow, right? So it never did trigger, but you would want to ignore that anyway because of that gap. But once we resume that uptrend, we get another setup and entry, and so far that trade is going very well. What's the common element? That nice degree of slope behind that trade. Okay, let's look at something like Texas Instruments. Okay, again, it works just the same to the downside as it does to the upside. Again, don't let all of these circles fool you. You're not taking all these trades. You're only taking some of these trades, the ones with the edge on your side, okay? That slope on your side. And whether you're trading the daily, the weekly, the monthly, and again, look at those bigger moves. It does capture the bigger moves, okay? The flat areas you do not want to trade with, okay? Just like up in here, okay? Let's look at something like GE. Now, this is the kind of trade that you will look for as well, okay? And we'll teach you this in the pro class, is when you're trending and then you go silent, okay? You go into a consolidation zone. You're waiting for a breakout from there. And most of the time it will work out perfectly. Sometimes it misses it, but will capture the follow through. So either way, you know, we'll show you what to look for and the reasons for either taking these or not when you have, you know, that initial turnaround in that 20. Okay, we'll talk about these in that class as well. This is a weekly time frame. Here's that monthly time frame, and let's go to a little more recently, daily time frame. Again, this kind of thing, the reason for this one was a break of that low, a breakout from the low that confirmed that. But again, if you don't want to take it, you want to focus only on the ones with slope, that's okay. It doesn't matter that you missed this one. There'll be plenty of other trades. Let's look at MasterCard. And has anyone typed any symbols? We can try to look at those as well. Here's MasterCard on the daily. Nice trend in place. Plenty of setups along the way. Let's look at weekly. Oh, there's a big one there on the weekly that it caught again. Breakout from the consolidation zone. Monthly. Yeah, there it was, right? So you zoom up, consolidate, you break out of there, and off it goes with slope in your favor. Let's go back to the SPYs and see if there was anything intraday today. Let's go to like a 1 minute or a 5 minute. How many of you trade intraday? You know, obviously some days are more active than others. A day like yesterday would have been really nice, but as you can see, you do get some setups. Let's go to a 5 minute here. Yeah, sometimes when it just gaps and then it kind of, you know, flatlines for the day, there aren't a lot of opportunities, but some days there's some real nice setups. Again, it doesn't matter whether you're trading an index, a stock, Forex pair, or what time frame you're trading. They all work out very well. Let's see. I see Jose's saying Pepsi. Let's look at Pepsi and see what comes up. The other thing I want you to do when you're using Veracity is if you see a current setup, I want you to look back, look to the left, and see how often in the past it triggered and whether it was successful or not. You know, there are going to be stocks that work better with it than others, and that's just the ebb and flow of that particular security. Some trend very strongly, others are very choppy and messy, right? You want to avoid the chop. That's where most people lose money. You want to go with the trend. So when you look at this and you see a move like this, it doesn't seem like much, right? But it, you know, this is a weekly time frame, and these moves are considerable. I mean, from here we went from the 100 area up to about 110, a nice 10-point move there. And especially if you're trading it with options, it's significant. Here's the monthly, and there are those big trades. And if it pays a dividend, again, if you can sell calls against it, all of that work out very well. AVGO for Steven. And then I want to get to the other tools to show you. Okay. Sometimes you'll have a stock like this that either doesn't have a lot of history behind it. This will require a certain number of bars for Voracity to calculate. And that's why sometimes you don't see it catching these early on. There just wasn't enough history to calculate there. But if we go to the lower time frame, it will be able to. And there you go. Several trades to enter along this whole stretch here. Okay. And the way you can treat it is if you get in here, right, and it gets you out, exit, get right back in, exit, get right back in. There you go. Okay. A nice stretch. And now we're back in another one here. And so far, it's moved from about the 265 area to where it is now at 303. And that's on the weekly time frame. All right, let's look at the daily. There they are. Okay. So it really doesn't matter what you're trading here. Okay, let me show you a few other things because I just looked at my watch and we're getting close on time. So within the Tactical Trader platform, first I will show you that on the far right-hand panel here, the black bar here on the right, there is a Veracity button right here. That's the scanner, okay? So you can choose the market that you want to scan, okay? All ETFs, all US stocks, currencies, the Dow 30, main FX pairs, NASDAQ, oil and gas ETFs, cryptocurrencies, you name it, S&P 500, okay? Just pick a market that you want to scan, pick your time frame, okay? Daily, weekly, month, 60-minute, 30-minute, 10, 5, you name it, right? And then on the far right here, you could, if you wanted to, is set parameters, right? A minimum price, a maximum price, certain volume, whatever. Or you can also select the type of setups you want to look for, right? So do you want to look for short setups only, long setups? You want to look for actual triggers to buy or sell? You want to look for exits, right? Whatever it is, make your selection and then just click scan. And what you'll notice is how quick this is, okay? Incredibly quick. And then if you just click on the headlines here, you can sort. So all long and then all short or vice versa, okay? And if you click on these, it'll bring up a chart, right? Like if we click on WBA, it'll click on the chart. Now there's that setup, that short setup. It's off a gap. We don't really want it, are interested in that. So let's go to MYL, right? And there's another one. We look at the moving average. Maybe we're not interested in that. So we go to the next one, right? It's that easy, that quick. Now, if you find one you like, if you notice when I'm hovering over, if you look to your right, there's this little star right here. If I click that, it will automatically add it to my watch list, okay? And then from your watch list, you can determine which time frame you choose. So for example, if I only want to ever look at the daily time frame, I'll just set it to daily. And that way, when I click on one of these symbols, it'll bring up the daily chart of that underline. Okay. If I ever want to remove it from my watch list, there's an X to the far right when I hover over it, click it, and it's gone. Okay. And you can set your own watch list. You can name them and set them yourself. So it's extremely quick and extremely handy, and especially if you're trading intraday, you can run a scan, like I said, in a split second. So whether you're trading on a 1 minute or 5 minute chart, you can constantly find opportunities. But the other exciting thing here is that there are a number of other tools that are associated with this platform. First of all, in the top right menu of the chart section here, there's a drop down. Here's Veracity. If I want to go to a default chart, I can set up my layout any way I want and just go clean, right? I have default set to clean. And then, I can bring in the Voracity signals with a click of the mouse. I can bring in my Fibonacci retracement tool, right? And it will, so there it goes. This pullback here came into the 50% level and bounced, right? And again, this is something that will teach you throughout the pro class, how to incorporate the Fibonacci tools into your trading with Veracity when you're comparing one trade to the next. This draws them in for you. You don't even have to draw them in. It'll draw them in for you, okay? If you're an Elliott Wave, someone who trades with Elliott Wave but also want to incorporate Veracity, you can just click on Elliott Wave and it'll draw in the Elliott Wave for you, okay? Very, very handy, okay? Or you can start with, the Elliott Waves, and by the way, with every tool that I'm showing you here, there's a scanner for it. So there's a scanner for the waves, okay? You can select which wave you want to scan for, which market you want to scan, which time frame. It's all there for you, okay? There are candlestick patterns, okay? So if I zoom in, you'll see that there's the bearish engulfing, the long-legged doji, all of these. So if you're a fan of trading with candlesticks and are looking for certain patterns, you can plot these. It'll highlight them for you. Not only that, once again, if you go to your far right, there's a scanner. Again, select your market, your time frame, and what type of candlestick pattern you want to search for. Click scan, and in a second, there they are. Okay, so Apple apparently has a bullish engulfing pattern. There it is, right here. Okay, so the other thing that there is a couple of tools, seasonality and earnings, which I think can greatly improve your trading, especially seasonality. And of course, there's a scanner for it. Let's go to seasonality scanner. I'm going to take the NASDAQ 100 here. And the time frame is defaulted to monthly. That's the only time frame that makes sense to scan for. But on the right, you can set whatever parameters you like. I have it set here at 75% growth to 80% a minimum, 2% move on average. And I'm going back to 1990. I'm searching all the way back to 1990. Okay, so I'm going to run this scan, and it's quickly going to populate here and show me a few. So here's Intel. So if I click on Intel now, here it is. What it's telling me is that here, during the month of April, the fourth bar, 70% of the time, going back to the year 2000, so over the past 19 years, right, on average, 70% of the time during the month of April, it's gone up on average of 3.3%, okay? And if you look to your far right here in October, it's telling us that 68% of the time, on average, it moves about 5.6%. So I can just make a note in my trading journal sometime in September to say, hey, keep an eye out for a potential trade setup leading into October, because over the past 19 years, Intel usually goes up during October and November, right? So this alone is a great starting point. And then if you see this, and so here we are at the beginning of April, and you want to know what's Veracity saying about Intel. Well, you just click on that drop-down menu, click Veracity, and it'll bring up Intel. and it'll tell you. Now, we're still in a trade from back here. On the monthly, that is. If we go back to the daily time frame, right? There it is. It's actually flashing an entry right now, right? So, again, you're stacking the evidence and you're stacking the odds in your favor, right? Because seasonality is on your side, veracity is on your side. Now you can look at, are we about to break off to new highs? That's a positive, right? All these other things. So it's a really, really handy way to do this. If we look at X-ray here, have a look at this. April, 78% of the time, going back to 1992. Okay, so what is that? About 27 years? Over 27 years, during the month of April, 78% of the time goes up on average of 2.4%. During the month of May, 85% of the time it goes up on average 1.5%. So there's some upside here over the next 2 months, right? So flip over. What is Veracity telling us? On the monthly, it's not giving us much, but on the daily, okay. So got us in here and we're still in, right? So maybe not ideal, but it's telling us, we're currently in a long, which goes along with what seasonality is telling us, right? So you can, again, scan through all the different types of markets, starting with seasonality and then flipping over to veracity, looking at the candlestick patterns, bringing on your Fibonacci's, your Elliott waves, and all those tools alone will really help you to improve your trading. But I can tell you, I've been working with Veracity for 20 years. If you focus on the setups that happen with that slope on that 20, and you use that money management plan that I gave you, I think you'll do very, very well. Okay. What else do we have here? Earnings. So this tool will tell you, and here at the top left, you can select which quarter, but for each individual stock, what it does is tell you how the stock normally reacts after earnings: 1 day, 3 days, 5 days, and 7 days after earnings. Okay. Again, this is going back to 2010. That's Q1. Let's look at Q3. There you go. So you can see normally it drops off after earnings in Q3 for whatever reason, right? So knowing this is very helpful as you head into earnings. But I'm told that next week there is going to be a big, big upgrade with this earnings tool. Okay, so you're not going to want to miss that. This is really going to help you as well. And there's one other thing that I haven't showed you, which is alerts. There are alerts you can set up so that you make sure you don't ever miss a trade. So if you're doing that scan, you're looking for a particular entry, you set up your alert. And let me go back to the slide deck, because I have there. This is what your emails are going to look. You're going to get an email with the title that will put the symbol of the stock, or whatever market you're trading, the time frame, and along with whatever alert you set it for. Long enter, right? And then in the body of the email, it'll tell you exactly. And this is what it'll look like before you open that email, right? So it's coming from Tactical Trader. It'll give you the symbol, the alert, so you can see everything here, and you never miss that setup again. All right. So super helpful. It's a fantastic platform with all these unique tools. And once you get comfortable with this and get into your routine of scanning in a particular order and looking for the items that you want to trade with, and you incorporate Veracity with it, remember, Veracity highlights those trades that give you huge potential upside. That's what it's designed to do, is find those big movers, right? But while capping your losses, right? it maximizes that safety component. Now, you could have the situation where there's a gap against you, right? There's no way to protect yourself from that, but that's what the money management plan is for. If you follow that money management plan, you'll never take a big loss again, but you will have some big winners like this. Okay, now let me tell you how you can actually get this package. So if you go to tacticaltrader.com/Veracity, that'll take you to this page. And in this package, you're going to get the full Veracity indicator, okay, along with the full suite of the Tactical Trader platform. So all those tools, including seasonality, the candlestick, Fibonacci tool, earnings tool, Elliott wave tool, not just the actual indicators that populate on your chart, but the scanners that go with it. You get all of that. You get real-time data, no additional charge, okay? And it's on all the time. And as a bonus, there's that training program that I'm telling you about that you'll get, where we teach you how to trade Veracity with options. We teach you how to trade it with the lower time frames as well as the longer time frames. And we'll show you how we combine the seasonality, the Fibonacci tools, all those tools with Veracity to make it that much stronger. Okay, so you get all of it. And also, this is a browser-based software. So you're not downloading anything on a computer. You can access it from anywhere you are, anywhere you have an internet connection. Okay, so you will get this entire package for $149, and you have a choice between being billed monthly or a discount quarterly, $297 billed quarterly. And they are currently offering a 14-day money back guarantee. So take it for 14 days, play with it, try it out, and enjoy it. I'm certain once you do, you're going to stick with it, because it will really change your trading. It certainly did mine, and many others that we've put on it. Honestly, never go back. These tools here on most platforms, you will have to bring them in yourself, like the Fibonacci tool. You'll have to click that tool, draw them in. Elliott wave as well. But something like the earnings, the seasonality tools, simply not available, especially not the scanners, and the speed that comes along with it. So again, tacticaltrader.com/Veracity. You get this whole package here for $149, along with that money back guarantee. I'm going to ask Raul to come back on. We still have a few minutes. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have before we need to sign off.
Vince, it's a busy session. Lots of questions, lots of good interactions. You've already answered quite a few questions. A lot of people, when they see a program like this with an indicator, they're always skeptical. How do they know it's going to work for them? Who is this right for? How do they know that it's right for them?
Well, listen, first of all, you won't know unless you try it. And you know, they're offering you 14 days with no risk to try it. So why not? But whether you're a conservative trader like me, whether you're aggressive, whether you're just starting out or you have experience, no matter what, these tools will help you. And as I mentioned, even if it's not the Veracity system that you're interested in, maybe you have your own strategy that you've been very successful with and don't want to move away from, and that's perfectly fine. I wouldn't ask you to. But the seasonality tools, and all these other tools, earnings, Fibonacci, I mean, they're going to improve your trading. There's no way around it. But what do you have to lose? I mean, you get to try the full system for 14 days minimum. So why not? And if you're just starting out, that money management plan that I gave you, those 5 rules at the beginning, you know, and we'll send out a recording of this session. So if you didn't jot them down, that's okay. You can just pause the recording when you get it and write them down. I mean, if I could have avoided taking a big loss early on, it would have saved me years to recover from it, and would have completely changed my trading much earlier in my career. And so I really hope you follow those rules.
Glenn is asking, when do we get the training, Glenn? Because it's an on-demand training session, it's already been recorded. So you will have everything as soon as you place your order, I would say within a half hour or so. If you'd like, you can stay up all night tonight, watch all the training courses, and be ready for tomorrow morning. And it's not difficult to learn once you get the hang of it. Is that right?
Not at all. It's actually quite simple. We're very specific as to which setups we want to take and which we don't, which we'll teach you in those classes. And we're not just going to leave you on your own. If you have any questions throughout, you can, if it is specific to the Veracity strategy, you can email us at info@tradingwins.com. If it has something specific to do with the Tactical Trader platform and those unique tools, the folks at Tactical Trader will be happy to help you.
Marianne in Texas says, what are the monthly fees for data in addition to the cost of the platform? There are no monthly fees for data. You will get real-time data at no extra charge. What's the cancellation policy? As we mentioned, you get a 14-day, no questions asked refund. And if you don't like the platform, you can always call and cancel at any time. There's no long-term commitments. Jeff in Illinois says, Vince, does this work on Forex? We didn't talk a lot about Forex, but I'll let you handle that question.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Again, this is strictly technical analysis. So whether it's Forex, ETFs, stocks, whether it's penny stocks or, Dow components, it doesn't matter. It's anything you can chart on, it will work. So take it and see, I don't expect you to just take my word for it. I mean, I created it. I've traded with it. I know what it can do, obviously, but I can't expect you to just take my word with it and run with it and put your money into it. But to take it for 14 days and prove it to yourself, flip through all the charts, look for those trades that have that momentum behind it, right? That slope. Look for those and just you can keep track, keep a spreadsheet and count how many actually worked out and how many don't. I think you'll be very surprised at how accurate it actually is. And so I want you to prove it to yourself.
BC is asking, Tactical Trader needs to be downloaded or is it web-based? No, that's the good thing about it. It is web-based. It's one of the newer type of platforms. So most, in the past, if you've had some of the other competing platforms, you've always had to download it onto your computer. It runs heavy and slows down your computer. This is all, if you have a browser, you can really access this from anywhere. And we've tried this, accessing it from home, office, away on business, et cetera, works flawlessly. Other questions, let's see. Theo says UK and Asia, not yet. Don't have that data yet, but it looks like the demand is picking up for it. So we'll be working on that as well. Vince, I know the answer to the question, but I'll let you answer it anyway. Does this work on UK and Asian stocks?
Yes, it does. So I've traded in the UK, I've traded in Hong Kong, in Singapore, I've traded in India, all over the place. And I can tell you that this works the same. I mean, it's strictly technical analysis. So it doesn't matter which market you trade or which particular stock, it's going to work well. And the beautiful thing of it is, if you run across a stock that doesn't have a lot of volume in it and isn't trending well, I mean, when you watch those videos that come along with the indicator that teach you what to look for and what not, it'll be obvious to you to avoid those and to only stick with the ones. I see a comment from Jose saying, Vince, if you look at Cisco, can't be any better example for Veracity system. It's just perfect. Yes, Cisco is, and there are many others. I've traded with this for so long. They're not difficult to find, and especially not with those scanners. That's the big advantage here. When I first started out, some of you may have heard this story, but I would search through over 3,000 charts a night manually, one at a time, looking for setups. We didn't have these tools that we could use in these, scanners going at this kind of speed. But with this, it's literally a few seconds of your time to have a list of trade candidates in front of you.
Speaking of speed, the questions are flying by, fast and furious. Speaking of Fast and Furious, Vince, did you ever watch the movie Fast and Furious?
Yes, I did.
Can I be Vin Diesel and you can be The Rock? Can we switch roles halfway?
That's how I drive on weekends. Didn't you know that?
I thought you took it easy on the weekends, but that's how you drive during market hours because you need to get from place to place quickly.
Right.
Glenn was asking, are Elliott waves included? Yes, they are. The scanner is also included. You'll really enjoy that. We'll send you a complimentary training course on that if you'd like as well. What else do we have here? Vince, did I pick up all the questions?
I'm looking through myself.
All right,
no,
the folks at the team at Tactical Trader is available through chat. So if you go to tacticaltrader.com, they'll be able to answer questions about not only the platform, but about Veracity as well. They'll be able to offer you that quick service and terrific help. So you can go online to do that. We've also put the link to the offer in the chat box. You can simply click on that to take it for a test drive. There's no risk. If you don't like it, just let them know before the 14 days are up. And I'll let you recap the offer one more time.
So the offer, if you go to tacticaltrader.com/Veracity, you can see the website address here at the top left of my screen, tacticaltrader.com/Veracity. And so with this package, you'll get the full Veracity indicator, the full suite of Tactical Trader Pro tools. So that charting software with all of the tools, the seasonality, the candlestick, the Fibonacci, earnings, Elliott wave, all included, along with the scanners for each one. Real-time data, no extra cost, and you get the bonus training sessions that are recorded and you'll receive with the indicator and the charting platform. Like Rose said, about half hour after you place your order, you'll have everything. And in these training sessions, we will teach you not only how to trade Veracity, how to compare one setup to the other, but we'll show you how I trade it with options to not only leverage your positions, but to also minimize the risk even further. And we'll show you how we combine all those tools to make Veracity even better. Again, you have that 14-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it. Packages are $149 billed monthly or $297 quarterly. Honestly, when I first decided to bring Veracity to the masses here, you can ask Raul and the others. I did not want to sell this for anything less than a few thousand. It really is powerful. I'm not just trying to make a sale here. Honestly, but I want you to prove it to yourself. I want you to see it for yourself. But like anything, the strategy alone is not worth much. But the strategy combined with the money management plan, combined with these tools, will really seriously give you an edge in the markets. So take the package, watch the training videos. You'll even learn, technical analysis within those training videos. We talk about, channel breakouts. We talk about chart patterns to look for. All of that's included in there. So there's a lot more to it than just the Veracity indicator. But again, tacticaltrader.com/Veracity. That'll take you to this page, and you can go from there.
Jeff is asking me to remind you to show the opportunities wall. Did we not?
No, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much for that. Let's go back here. That's right. So along this panel on the far right, Above the alerts, there's this grid. If you click on it, it's going to bring up what we call an opportunities wall, and it will populate with upcoming opportunities, as you can see here. So CCI, so it includes the seasonality, 90% chance to go about, wow, more than 20.5% here in April. So that's huge. Daily time frame is showing a buy, right? Fibonacci, nothing there right now, but candlestick pattern, and it tells you what the pattern is. The Elliott waves, it tells you what wave it's currently in. So at a flash here, you can see some of the opportunities, and there's a long list. So and then if you click on the symbol, there it is, AXP in April, 80% chance of an average gain of 8.2%. That's huge, and that's since the year 2000, right? So that's 19 years of data. There's something to that, right? So it really does not only shorten your research time, but really does give you an edge in the market. So some great tools here, and you'll learn how to navigate your way through it in no time. The other thing that I haven't even spent time on, this has all the list of indicators that you could want here. You can create your own templates. If you have other indicators that you like to trade with, you can put them on and then save and give them a name and save your template, right? All of that. There's the earnings indicator down here that you can put on your chart. There's all the drawing tools that you can ever want. Here, there's your GAN, your pitchfork, all the other fib tools. I mean, there's everything here. You can annotate on your chart, draw on your chart. So it's pretty extensive. It's a very robust piece of software. So again, it's tacticaltrader.com/Veracity. Unless there's some last minute questions, I think we are well past the hour right now. Raul, any last minute?
Terrific presentation. Lots of great positive feedback. A lot of people interested in the offer. As we mentioned before, if you go to tacticaltrader.com, you see that little green, dialogue bubble at the bottom right. You can just click on that and start a conversation with the folks there if you have any questions. Any questions, otherwise, go ahead and sign up. It's no risk, 14 days. Try it out. If you don't like it, let them know. All right, Vince, before we go, hockey playoffs starting next week. Your choice for the Stanley Cup winner.
It's going to be an exciting playoff. I believe there's a number of teams that I think have some real potential to win it all. At this point, I really do think it's Tampa Bay's year, but I am not counting Washington out, not counting Boston out. There's a number of teams that can really compete for it. At this point, Tampa Bay just looks unbeatable.
All right, I'm going to go sleeper pick, Winnipeg Jets.
Wow. I mean, they do have a great team. They just haven't seemed to gel as much as I thought they could. So who knows if they do come together in the playoffs and they get hot, look out. It's going to be exciting though. There's some great teams out there.
All right. Join us next time when Vince plots all these teams' performance on a Veracity chart and get you some signals for entries and exit. Folks, that's our presentation. We want to thank you very much for joining us for our special Veracity presentation today. We hope you enjoyed it. We always love feedback. If there's anything that we could be doing better, you can always email us, info@tradingwins.com. If you want to take advantage of the offer, tacticaltrader.com/Veracity, or simply click the link in the chat box. We enjoyed it. We hope to see you soon.
And just before I go, just to answer Peter's question, because he came in late, yes, there is a replay. You'll be receiving a recording soon, so enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed. And good luck, everyone. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.